Great. I got the thumbs up. Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Wednesday, November 1st storm forecast. My name is Brad Bergstrom, and I'm lucky enough to be the superintendent here in Sauk Rapids Rice. Thank you for joining us tonight. For those of you that are returning and have been through some of these sessions in the past, thank you for coming back. We greatly appreciate it. For those of you that are new, welcome. Hope you find that this is helpful for you. Our purpose and goal with the storm forecasts is really an opportunity for me to share some things that are going on within our district and keep our constituents and our families informed of what's going on. But it's also an opportunity for you to ask me questions, and how that process works is if you have a question that you'd like me to try and answer, if you would type up that question in the comment section. We've got a couple of amazing people here that will record those and put them on us and post it for me, and then I'll try to answer it. There are times when I don't have an answer to the question, and so I do what I like to call my phone a friend, and I can text somebody that maybe has more information with it and find out an answer. And if I don't get it by the time we're done, we'll record that, and then when we come to the next session, I'll go ahead and I'll try to answer that question for you. So again, the idea is for me to share some information with you, for you to ask questions. I'll do my very best to answer those questions, and then again, that's how the process works here tonight. So again, welcome to the November 1st storm forecast. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I have some items that I do want to make sure that I share, and I'm going to start with some information in regards to, we've got a new school board member. So back on October 10th, Jan Solars, longtime board member and on the board for 27 years. When we look at her commitment to other things, including the Rice PTA, she was a member of the Storm family for 39 years, announced that she was retiring, and October 10th was her last meeting. The board sought applicants for the open position because the board was able to appoint to fulfill the rest of Jan's term. There was numerous applicants, and that was narrowed down to a list of 4 candidates. Those candidates were interviewed on Wednesday, October 25th, which is 1 week ago tonight. The board then made its selection, and pleased to announce that Samantha Dwyer has been selected to complete the rest of Ms. Solar's term. And by statute, Ms. Dwyer cannot join the board until 30 days after she has been selected. So she will join the board for the first board meeting on Monday, November 27th. So congratulations to Ms. Dwyer, and thank you to Jan for 27 years of amazing service on the board. I'm so proud to have been able to be a part of her time here for the last 3.5 years, and she will surely be missed, and wishing her nothing but the best in her retirement. And again, congratulations to Samantha Dwyer. She'll be joining the board on Monday, November 27th will be her first meeting, and that is a board work session. Not seeing any questions at this time, so I'm going to move on, and I'm going to spend a little time talking with everybody tonight with regards to the weather. And we got a little dusting of snow here the other day, and that's a gentle reminder that winter weather is just around the corner. And I want to talk a little bit about process. I want to talk a little bit about partnership. I want to talk a little bit about some of what goes into making the decision when we are going to have weather impact what our day is going to look like for school. Contrary to some, I don't wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, look out my window and make a decision from there. There is a lot of moving parts to this, and so I want to talk a little bit about that with you tonight. So let's talk a little bit about partnership. And so like we have done in the past, we've agreed this year, we being Sartell St. Stephen, St. Cloud Area Schools, and Sauk Rapids Rice Public Schools have agreed to make the decision with regards to school closures. We're going to make that decision together. We've done this for a number of years. We had 1 year during the pandemic in which we did not do that because of of a number of different factors, but this is now, I think, year 2 or year 3 that we've been back in the saddle again, agreeing to make these decisions together. Each school, if we choose to close school, will have a plan of its own when it comes to at-home learning and make-up days. And for us here in Sauk Rapids Rice Public Schools, by the way, if you see the camera lens focusing in and out, we're trying to figure out and find the sweet spot for that. And part of it is I think I keep moving. It wants to focus on the background behind me, so I do apologize for that. And thanks, Nicole, for trying to get that figured out. And so in Sauk Rapids Rice Public Schools, the very first day in which we cancel school all day, that will be what we call a snow day. There will be no makeup for students. There'll be no makeup for staff. And then the next 5 times that we have that, we will use what we call our e-learning days. We can only do 5 days by state statute. So therefore, if we move beyond that, then it would move into the board making a decision in terms of what we wanted to do for making up those days. So again, we have a partnership with our friends in the St. Cloud area schools and in Sartell St. Stephen. We understand there's a lot of people and intermixing staff working in those buildings, children going to school in those buildings, and it just seems to make a lot of sense for us to make that decision together, and we will be doing that again this year. When we start thinking about how or what we're going to do with the decision, the number one priority is for the safety of our students, their families, and our staff. And that's in no particular order of importance. They are all important. One of the things that I'll share with parents and guardians is that if the decision is made to stay in school and you feel it is in your child's best interest because of the road conditions, because of the conditions or the impending weather that's coming, you feel it's in your child's best interest to keep your child or children at home, we certainly will allow that to happen. Now, if it's happening once a week, we might have to have a different conversation, but when the weather is inclement, if a parent or a guardian chooses to make a decision to keep their child or children at home, that's okay. What we will require is that it must be reported to the school, and you have to follow the process. There's a protocol for reporting that. So if there are a series of absences and then after the fact you come back and say, well, for the last month we've kept our child at home for 5 days because of the weather, that's very different than, you know what, today I realize that there's going to be school, but I think it's too dangerous. I'm going to keep my children at home. That looks and sounds and feels quite different. So parents do have that choice when it comes to inclement weather. And again, I always, a little bit tongue-in-cheek, if it's happening on a regular basis, it's once a week, then we have to have a little different conversation. The next thing I want to talk about is attendance. And so I spoke a little bit about the first day for Sauk Rapids Rice Public Schools is a snow day, and then we'll have 5 e-learning days. If you would have asked me a year ago, do I worry about having to use all 5 of those e-learning days, I would have said, no, I don't think we have to worry about that. Well, guess what? Last year we did. And so let's talk a little bit about what e-learning days look like. So with e-learning days, it is options for students. There's choice boards at the elementary level. We also use Seesaw for some of our families, and Schoology, especially for our secondary students. But staff are available to answer questions should a child have a question. The thing that I want to remind people of is back in the pandemic, we did some things where we, around the idea and the concept of distance learning. And e-learning and distance learning are very different. And a couple of the major differences are during distance learning, we ran a virtual schedule. So if reading at the elementary level was from 7:45 to 8:45 in the school building, we also did that virtually. Whereas with e-learning, we do not run a virtual schedule. There may be teachers are available so that students can email and parents can email or call. Students can do that as well and check in with some questions that they have. But it is not a bell schedule per se, so it is not distance learning. So I just want to make sure that we've clarified that. I'm looking right now and not seeing any questions, so I'm going to continue my conversation around the idea of weather. So one of the things that I oftentimes get asked about and questioned about is this idea of, well, why did you cancel school? As it turns out, we could have had school. And that is one of the things that happens when you're trying to decide with weather. I little tongue in cheek, and no disrespect to those who are in the business of predicting weather, because what I've learned over time is that, especially when we encompass the 3 districts that we have that make this decision together, it's a rather large geographical area. And you can have conditions on the west side of the district or on the north side of the district that are not very good, and on the east side or on the south side, things could look a lot different, right? And we know that the weather folks do the very best they can to predict, but it's really hard for me to be 100% accurate with weather information that 80% of the time could change. And it might be okay for one part of the district, but not in another part of the district. So ultimately, at the end of the day, when it comes to the predictability of the weather, we really break it down into 2 pieces. We talk about cold weather and we talk about inclement weather. Cold weather oftentimes is much more accurate. The ability to predict that is pretty good. And we have a threshold for where that's at, and the threshold for us is minus 35 degrees, and that is for wind chill, and that is also for ambient temperature. So if the temperature is 34 below zero, we are going to be running. If it is 35 or colder, we will be adjusting what our day is going to look like. And I oftentimes get feedback as well. Well, according to the X app, and there's a number of them that are out there, it says it's 36 below and you still had school. So what we're trying to do is make sure everybody is aware what we are using is the National Weather Service and NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. That's the app that we're using, and it's on the St. Cloud area, because they pick different spots around the state that they'll give some predictions for, and there are apps that will get more specific and say, well, on the southeast side of Sauk Rapids, it's saying it's this temperature. So to make sure everybody understands, we're using National Weather Service, either app or their website, which is National Weather Service /NOAA. And we're using the St. Cloud region as the temperature that we'll be looking at, and it's minus 35. It's minus 35 or colder, then our day might be adjusted. If it appears that the temperature is going to get above that minus 35 by 9:30 in the morning, we will generally do a 2-hour late start. If it looks like it's going to run later than that, then we will cancel school. Okay? Again, cold weather, much more predictable, much more accurate. When it gets to inclement weather, snow, wind, even rain that happens sometimes, that gets a little bit more challenging to predict. The number of times that weather has been predicted to come and it has disappeared or moved around, it's incredible. And sometimes I wonder if it doesn't have something to do with the river, but at the end of the day, things do change with that. So for inclement weather, what we'll do is we're looking at the forecast with regards to how much ice and snow and rain and sleet is being predicted. We're also looking at road conditions. And then I spend an awful lot of time, especially early in the morning, talking with the county and the city with regards to what are the plows seeing when they're out there on the roads. And when the plow trucks are being pulled off of the road, that's usually an indication to me that we have to do something different. If the plow trucks are going to be out there and they feel like they can get the roads cleared and run a normal schedule, we're going to do that. We also spend an awful lot of time talking with the bus company, making sure that they're feeling comfortable with where things are at as well, because we do not want to get a bus stuck, because that creates a number of issues in and of and by itself. So we take all of that information and we try our very best to predict and figure out where things are going to be to make the best decision to make sure that students, staff, and families are safe, and that's what we try to do. Now, when it comes to making a decision with whether we have three choices, we can do a late start, we can do an all-day closure, and we can also do an early release. And when it comes to those three, the one that I struggle the most with is an early release. That means we're getting out of school 2 hours early. Sometimes there is no choice and we have to do that, and that's why it's so very, very important that families make arrangements for any of those conditions. It's going to be a late start, it's going to be an early release, or we're going to be gone all day. And you need to have those arrangements ahead of time, because sometimes the weather comes in late and we wait until we absolutely have to make that decision. And sometimes that gets to be challenging for families, and I understand that. But at the end of the day, all those pieces come together to help us determine where things are at. The other thing that I normally do is I'll usually up 3:30, 3:45, and I'll go take a drive around and see where things are at as well. And just gives me a bit of an idea of what those roads are like as well. So again, going back to the cold weather, 35 below is our temperature that we use. In inclement weather, it's a lot of trusting where the forecast is going to be at, and trying to make the best decision based upon input that we get from the weather service, on input we get from plow drivers and the county and the city, and we try to do our very best to make the most accurate decision to keep everybody safe. When it comes to timeliness of this, whenever possible, we will try to make decisions the evening before. It just gives families and staff enough time to plan. Please know that if you haven't heard anything by 9 a.m., there will be no information coming. Rather, instead, if there is going to be a change, it will be coming to you by 9 p.m. I think I said 9 a.m. My apologies for that. Thank you. 9 p.m. We'll try to have a decision made by then. If we're not comfortable and we don't know where things are going to be at and you don't hear anything, that means that we will be waiting till the morning to make that decision, and we will try to have that decision made by 5:30 a.m. Last year I got some feedback of, why did you, and I believe it was a couple of times, why did you say we're going to have a 2-hour late start? We start to plan for that, and only to find out an hour later, an hour and a half later, that we're canceling school for the day. And again, I understand the frustration, and I get that. It's not what I would prefer to do. Last year was hopefully a unique year, and we don't see any more of that. But storms were predicted, and they came in much stronger than what was anticipated, and we just couldn't run. And ideally, I would like to have kids in school every day. That is, to me, the best way that we meet the needs of our kids. We got a safe, warm place with food for them, and a lot of caring adults to support the needs of our students. And if I could wave a magic wand and eliminate the weather issues, we'd be coming to school every day, I certainly would. So that is my preference, but we know there are times that cannot happen, and sometimes we also get fooled. And so again, if you don't hear anything by 9 p.m., know that if there's going to be a change, it will be made by 5:30 a.m. The way we communicate that here in Sauk Rapids Rice Public Schools is we use Blackboard, which is our internal way to communicate externally with people, and you can get messages via text or you can get them via email. We also will put it on our website. We also will be communicating with our friends in the media, with both television and with radio. So again, the timeliness is, if we can make the decision by 9 p.m., we certainly will. If we don't know for sure where it's at, then we'll have to wait till 5:30. So if you don't hear anything by 9 p.m., know that the decision, if anything's going to change, will come by 5:30 a.m. If you haven't heard anything by 5:30 a.m., then that means that things are running as scheduled. I've just looked over, no questions at this time. When it comes to communicating, we try to let people know as far out as we can, and sometimes it's last minute or it needs to change, which I just talked a little bit about. Earlier I spoke about the importance of families making plans, and particularly for our younger learners. It's really important that you have a plan in place for what it is that you're going to do if it's an early release, a late start, or canceling school for the day. Kids Stop and Kids Club for us in our district will provide some service, and please check with them ahead of time because drop-in generally doesn't work. There's got to be a sign-up and a registration piece with that. If school is canceled or closed, it generally means there's going to be no after-school activities. If there's a late start, there's going to be no morning activities. If there is a early release, then there's going to be no after-school activities. There are rare circumstances, and particularly at the state and section level, where things are pretty bad in the morning, and by 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, things have reached the point where maybe something could be held. That is generally out of our control, and that may happen. So at the end of the day, ultimately what we're looking for is to remind people that there's no activities when we cancel school, our buildings are closed, and again, we always encourage people to refer to the website for more information. All right, I think that concludes my conversation on the weather. Again, we continue to try and communicate with families and let them know what we have going on and how things work. And when Mother Nature cooperates, it seems to work okay. Sometimes she makes things rather challenging. And again, the importance of the planning piece ahead of time cannot be expressed enough. So the next item I want to talk about is American Education Week, which is going to be the week of November 13th through the 17th. And this is a week when we celebrate all of our staff and the great service that they provide to our students. From our bus drivers to our admin assistants, to food service, to custodial, to our teachers, to our paraprofessionals, to our administrators, to all who really work hard to provide what I consider to be one of the best educations around. We want to take time to celebrate them, and I want to publicly thank everybody in advance of American Education Week for all the great things that they do. So again, this is our time to celebrate everybody. We do have certain weeks throughout the course of the year where we take time to celebrate certain groups, but American Education Week is a time to celebrate all. Some events that are coming up that I want to make you be aware of. A gentle reminder for families that on Monday, November 6th is a staff teacher in-service day, so there will be no school. And also on December 1st for teacher in-service, there will be no school on those days as well. So November 6th, there's no school for teacher in-service, and then on December 1st is also staff in-service day, and there will be no school for students as the trimester ends on November 30th, which is a Thursday. The high school drama team has been hard at work here for the last several months, and they're going to be doing their performance of Disney's Newsies. That will be on November 9th through the 11th. From 7 to 8:30, and then on the 11th and 12th there will be matinee performances from 2 until 3:30. Again, it's being presented by the drama department. It will be held at the PAC, the Performing Arts Center, here at the high school. Please enter through door number 1. To get here, adults are $7 and seniors and students are $5, and students in grades 9 through 12 will get in free with their ID. So again, that's the high school drama performance of Disney's Newsies. That will be the 9th through the 11th with performance at 7 o'clock to 8:30. And then on the 11th and 12th will be from 2 to 3:30 p.m. for matinee performances. So on that Saturday, there will be a matinee performance, and then there will also be an evening performance. And I encourage you to attend if you can. I know the kids have been working really hard with that. It's that time of the year where we're going to start to see some of our music concerts. So the middle school choir concert will be on the 14th at 6 o'clock. Grade 6 will be at 6 p.m., grade 7 at 7 p.m., and grade 8 at 8 p.m. That's pretty easy to remember. Your grade level is the time that you're going to have, and that will be at the CAC, the Community Arts Center at the middle school. Again, that will be on November 14th. Again, that is at 6, 7, and 8 for those performances, and they are about 45 minutes in length. Looking forward to hearing the middle school choir. On November 20th from 7 until 9, we've got the high school and the middle school band concerts. This is for grades 8 through 12. So it's at the high school in the PAC. Students and families should enter via door 6. This will be including the middle school 8th grade band, as well as the high school 9th grade band and the high school 10 through 12 concert band. Again, looking forward to that concert as well. And then we have the high school choir concert, which is on the 27th at 7 o'clock. That will be at the PAC, and you can enter through door number 6. And again, that is the high school choir concert. So we've got the middle school choir concert on the 14th at 6, 7, and 8. We've got the high school and middle school band concerts. And the middle school band is 8th grade, and the high school band's at 9th grade in our 10 through 12 concert band. And then we have the choir concert, which will be running on the 27th at the PAC, and you can enter through door number 6. And again, I'm looking forward to hearing those music concerts. It always is a great time. And then finally, in terms of things that are going on, just a gentle reminder, we'll be having the Thanksgiving break on November 22nd and 23rd. And it is that Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. There will be no school for students. Is there anything else? I'm looking over here. No questions at this time. Well, I have come to the end of the information that I wanted to present tonight. So for those of you who joined, thank you very much. I wish you a great rest of your evening. Take care and go Storm. Thank you.